Hi everybody, it's Chris here from the Gallowgateshots YouTube channel. Just to let you know, as always, this podcast is now part of the 90-Minute Football Network and proudly sponsored by www.pt-4-u.co.uk. Enjoy the episode. Hi everybody, welcome back to the Gallowgateshots YouTube channel and the All Smile Faces podcast. As you can see, I'm not with the usual lot. I am with three of the guys from Wor Flags who are here to answer all of your questions. So we have Chris, Thomas, Ryan. How are you? Start you, Chris.
Hi, champion. Absolutely fine. I'm a bit less tired than these two legs. I'm being at Munich during the week, so I for a nice relaxing week apart from work. But I'm sure these guys have had a lot more fun out there,
So yeah, Thomas, you've been away.
Yeah.
All busy you, mate.
I know. Being in Munich, watching England, it was all right, aye?
And the kid with the ginger skin.
The ginger skin.
He's got better tan than you, Thomas.
I know, doing something wrong.
Sunburn.
I know.
So yeah, I just want to tell everybody, if you do have any questions, just give us a shout. We'll go through as many as possible tonight. We will start with some of the questions which have been sent in from members of the Gallowgateshots YouTube channel. And I'm not going to direct this necessarily at one ear. So if anybody wants to jump in and answer it, then albeit. So this is something which has been mentioned a lot. And Thomas, will start with you because I know you've mentioned this in the past. And it's something which I think, if I remember right, you said that you are in favor of this. So question from Sean Saunders says that you've mentioned in the past wanting to get a winch system installed at St. James's Park to help you with displays. Has there been any talks whatsoever with the football club?
Many talks over the years, I think it's fair to say. Probably more us begging, would you say?
I think
probably
so,
us begging the football club and them trying to be a little bit realistic about it. I think they wanted to. It's just a case of going through the right departments and hopefully making it happen. It's something we desperately want because it would just take us to a completely different level, wouldn't it? We'd do we'd be able to do so many more displays that would just look absolutely class. So yeah,
I think certainly after the end of last season as well, where we've kind of probably reached a bit of a new limit, I suppose. We've got to kind of look at diversifying the way we do things, and certainly looking at that sort of type of display would probably put us ahead of a lot of teams in the UK. And it would kind of take us up another notch, and that's where we want to be able to go really, because then it just gives us a bit more chance to sort of put on bigger and better displays, I guess. Really.
That's it. It's definitely something we want. Like I say, it's just it's up to the club. It really is, because it's their stadium. We've had people out before and sort of test the Gallowgate and see if it's possible.
In what way?
Just to, it's like weight, isn't it? It's to do with the weight of it and how much can the roof hold and all this sort of stuff. And
I think I could be wrong. I don't know if it's the case with the Gallowgate end or not, but it's cantilever built, isn't it? So I think the way it works, it's it kind of builds up, holds it from the back and the top rather than through the middle of it. When you go to Goodison and that, you've got pillars in the middle, and obviously you don't have that at the Gallowgate end or around St James. I could be wrong.
They were saying the leases wouldn't be an issue.
Yeah,
because it's a newer sort of roof, isn't it?
Okay.
So it's like a new construction.
But the Gallowgate's just a little bit more of a problem. So it might be that we get it, but we might be limited to space. But it's definitely something we want.
I know, obviously, everybody raves and rightly so about the displays that we've seen, especially the most recent ones, Ryan. But sometimes you look at the likes of the overseas leagues, so the European ones, so like Italians, Germans, and you think, if only we could do that.
If we could pull something like that off. I think the main ones for us is Dortmund on a Champions League night. We'll look at that, and within minutes of the display going out, everyone's in the group chat. Have you seen Dortmund? And we need to be able to get to do something like that. But as we were saying, for UK-based teams, we're probably not blow our own trumpets, but we're up there with some of the best in the country. But now I would like to move on to more European-style displays.
What is that? What is more European-style displays?
I think we're fairly limited. I think what we can do with some regards, because for me, sorry, Thomas. For me, I think I personally love the use of pyrotechnics, and that I think it looks fantastic. It's intimidating. It looks great, and as long as it's controlled, it can be fairly safe. I mean, some football clubs have actually used pyrotechnics on the pitch and hit fans, like with the Wolves game against us. So like it's quite ironic, really. But yeah, I mean, obviously the football clubs have got to really assess that and make sure they've got sort of trusted people who can use pyrotechnics. But I don't foresee that being an option, to be honest, for a long time.
It's irritating in a way, because clubs still use pyrotechnics. One of the worst ones I experienced this season was Norwich away, and that's because the club did a display on the pitch. Right, and the smoke just blew right into the away end, and it was just, and that was the club that did that. So so I think definitely the pyrotechnics is one side of it. One thing that you see around Europe is quite choreographed, isn't it?
Yeah,
I don't think we'd be able to do that. When people have rocked out the pub at 10 minutes before kickoff, I don't think they're going to be able to come in and sort of do a display where you've got to turn the card over and all that.
Do you think the difference between that is probably
it's culture, isn't it?
Culture of English football, and like obviously it's all about going to the pub.
We
like
don't want
mates and stuff.
We really want to. We're very cautious to not to force it.
Yeah,
we want to do things that we know people would be happy to get involved in and all that sort of stuff. And it's taking it one step at a time. We have set like a really high bar now from that Arsenal display.
You have.
Which we'll blame certain people in the group for, but grim. It's we've got a lot of work to do, a lot of thinking to do ahead of the new season. Like so,
where does it go from that though? So where does it go from that Arsenal game? Because it was ridiculous as a display. And obviously, everybody saw it building up to that moment. Obviously, started in the Gallowgate, moved to the East Stand, Lasers. Level 7 at one point, so it was a gradual work to get to that. Were you just testing those areas first? Was it overall picture full ground, but you had to test each section one by one?
I don't think we're specifically kind of set out to test each stand, but it kind of just worked that way. It naturally evolved that way. We did try different like stands to see what the take up was, and actually, I think we're seeing that there was probably a lot more take up in some of the other stands, and arguably the Gallowgate at times. And because of that, it kind of developed a confidence within the group that we could extend further, we could do different things, and naturally it kind of evolved. So once we did, if you like, try all the other stands, which wasn't the like sort of first objective, if you like, once we did do that, though, it kind of set the path for us to be able to do that. And once we've seen that, people were taking it up, and I think Man City was a key game for that. When
that was huge.
The end of the game,
it was towards the end of the game, and like people were waving flags totally sporadically,
and like down,
yeah. And I think that just set the precedent, didn't it? It was like, right, people actually want to get involved with this.
I think as well, we needed something new every game. So that's something new.
Was a new
stand, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And that's kind of the way we went about it. We kept just getting bigger and bigger and bigger as the season went on, probably not realising that we were setting a ridiculously high bar for ourselves. I think as well, though, the Arsenal game, it was a special game, almost like a celebration for the end of a season that was just unbelievable and one we'll never, ever forget. Whereas we can't do that every game. And I think people know that.
Yeah.
We'll go back to maybe it's even just the Gallowgate or, just going back to waivers in the seats and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, as long as it contributes to the atmosphere, then it's working. And
it's something which people have mentioned all season, even last season. I would say the likes of Wor Flags have contributed massively towards the atmosphere in St. James's Park. Something which I know every single home fan of every single Premier League football club will probably say the same. It's pretty flat at times during a home game. It always has been. But since Wor Flags have came back, since obviously the ownership changed, Ryan, do you still look at these displays afterwards and think, shit, we done this?
Aye. People always say, like, when you're at the match, it must be meant to see that. And we're like, well, we don't get to see it until afterwards. So everyone else in the stadium, they get to see the display, they get a lift off it, and then it's not until maybe half time if we can get something through on the phones. You look on the chat and someone's put a picture in, and that's when you actually see how it's turned out. So we just usually do the display, pack up, go and sit in the seats, and we don't know how it's went until we can see for ourselves.
Yeah.
The Arsenal game was probably one of the times that we could see it.
Yeah.
With what was going, most of us were in the Gallowgate, weren't we? With the big banner,
the big banners.
And obviously we were getting it up. And I remember trying to sort the poles out on the banner with one of the lads, Dan, and I turned around and looked at the leasers, and I hit Dan. I got seeing that, couldn't believe it. And then when the display was done, we literally, like, the groups that we were in, we all hugged each other.
Yeah.
I think we'd scored a goal because we like the work that went into it was absolutely unbelievable to see it work.
I put a tweet out. I think it was the day afterwards, and I said that it was lush to see a couple of lads from Wor Flags like in that moment afterwards. And it was Ryan that walked past me, and he just caught my eye. Then he just looked at us. He went, "We fucking did it!" And then he's hugging me, and like who else was there? Well, it was Johnny as well. He was there just hugging everybody as well, and that for me, to see the excitement and the pride in your face as well at that moment, it was just as good as a display for me, because obviously I know the hard work that goes into the displays as well. And like that Arsenal thing, the display, I was only there for 4 hours on the Sunday to help you out, just doing the final things, and everything was basically done.
Yeah,
but from the Friday night, you were there.
I think that's the thing though, and that's something that you kind of just touched on. Like, it got to a point on the Sunday where I think it was about roughly midday, maybe it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon, something like that. And there was a bit of concern in the group about not being able to get it done in time because we had the biggest stand left to do at that point. And a few of us who had like personal issues that we had to go and attend to and stuff. So it was a case of like, get everyone on the phone that you know. And thankfully, like, people managed to get people left, right, and centre to come in. And people like yourself just came along to volunteer to help and get us through it and get us over that the finish line, if you like.
Smashed it off.
I think it's a relief. Like, so what people probably don't consider is when the display is happening or when it's come off. It's a relief for us because, like, for that 20 minutes before every single display, it doesn't matter how well versed we are on it. The We Are United surfer, we've used that dozens of times now, but every time we use it, we're worried. Every single time we think, what kind of balls us up? Yeah. So, like, when it comes off, every time there's that sense of relief, and like that's part of the celebration as well. It's just
so speaking about that flag, the thing and the moment I was worried with that server flag was the Sam Fender concert. When that was making its way around the side of the
Geordie Pride one,
the Geordie Pride one. So when that was making its way, and there was just a big gap coming, and I was thinking they need to start pulling that flag in soon, because I thought there was a lass up blonde, I don't know who it was, but she was getting dragged up towards the back of the stand as well. I thought she's going to hit the deck soon.
It can be quite deceiving, like, because when it's spread out, it's obviously quite light. You know what I mean? Because everyone's just like, it's 1,000 hands might be holding this banner, so it's not too bad. Many hands be light work and all that. But like it can like drag you the momentum of it. Like, we've had it with particularly with the We Are the Mags one, the massive one. I remember the first time we did that in the Gallowgate, I was running up the stairs trying to hold the corners, went up, and I fell between the seats because I got dragged. And then all of a sudden I got pulled into the air. I'm about 16 stone. I got pulled into the air by this flag.
The force is unbelievable on that flag. Like, when you're trying to hold, I did it for the Liverpool game when I was at the back of the Leazers trying to hold onto it. Jesus. Then it just launches down, doesn't it?
Yeah, and when it drops, like, obviously you can see how quick it drops.
And it's the whole when we do the plan for it will be like, right, so many at the bottom, so many in the middle. You have a runner up either side. And if you're on the runner, you've got to go from bottom to top, hold it at the top, and then back down to carry it away. So by the time you run up and you run down, and then you've got the weight of it to drag wherever it's got to go.
I've witnessed it first. You lads know my seat is at the front of the Gallowgate, where the platform walkway is, where obviously all the flags are normally positioned at the front.
Yeah.
And seeing people cling on to that flag for their own life, dragging it back, trying to bring it back into in line with the stand. It is mental.
It's great, man.
Sorry, go on, mate.
The first game where I've done the surfer flag, I tried to make a venture into the east stand, and there was a couple of we stood with the bottom of the flag, and we had our feet on the concrete walkway up the banister, just trying to stop it going around. And it just had that much resistance on it. Was like,
no wonder it gets ripped all the time.
Is this going to hold or not?
Is there a plan in place for worst case scenario? So if that surfer flag was to just keep on going, is there a plan in place?
Nah.
We'll deal with that at the time.
Yeah, we'll deal with it after.
Because there's been a few times it started wandering. Like,
oh yeah, there's nothing we could do about it.
We quite enjoy it when it does do that to some degree, because it's just the natural.
We're just stood there laughing. We're not going to go running after it.
There's a moment where I've seen Dan like see it drifting in the sea, and he just goes, "Let it go, just let it go."
That's just Dan anyway. It's just Dan with any display.
He's probably shouting that, and we're all probably chasing it.
I'll go back through some of the questions here. This one is from Mike that says, "How easy was it to get permission from the previous ownership to get this started compared to the current one?" So in regards to displays, Thomas, does a club basically say you just get on with it? Do you have to run anything by the club, either previous ownership or current ownership?
I'll start with current ownership. We have a lot of trust built up with people in the club. So we do tell them what we're doing, just for for health and safety reasons and all this sort of stuff. We tell them what it's going to be like, kind of what the design's going to be. But every time it's just crack on.
Yeah.
There's never any pushback. To be honest, there was never much pushback before the takeover when we were doing displays. We'd kind of just let them know what we were doing. I think after the Kevin Keegan display, when we did the quote, that's when it got a little bit feisty.
We had to send off exactly what we
were doing
and get that okay.
How
before.
like they got stewards in to watch us whilst we were making the displays and all this sort of stuff. But we've always had a very, very good relationship with everyone in the club, haven't we? We've like Lee Marshall's helped us massively.
Yeah.
The security guys there have just been unbelievable. So it's a lot better now that the takeover's gone through. Just because everything's better than now that the takeover's gone through.
Yeah.
But it was never that difficult beforehand. They were always really supportive of us, and even when we decided to stop doing displays, they were very happy when there was a rumor coming out saying that we might come back. When we had Man City at home in the cup, it was an FA Cup quarter final at home. It was like you're desperate just to do something for them.
That was during the COVID era, wasn't it?
Even then, they were like they were hearing the rumors that we might come back, and they were absolutely chuffed with it. So they've always done as much to help us as possible. Whilst obviously, I think realizing at the time under Mike Ashley that they were probably a little bit wary that we might have just
stepped over the mark a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, not even stepping over the mark, but saying something that the ownership wouldn't be
just
happy
gone
with.
gone really abusive or something like that. Then I think there was that little bit of caution there from them.
At the end of the day, I think we've all got to remember that most people in the club are fans just like us. They probably share the same emotions and feelings, and some of them probably even stronger because it's their bosses at the time when it was Mike Ashley, and that, obviously it's the new bosses now. So there was a little bit of caution. Like at times they were kind of like, what he is doing, like it's not going to be too much kind of thing. And we did have to have. It wasn't like an argument or anything like that. It was just a discussion around it so that we could kind of make sure that we weren't overstepping the mark. But we always did have messages behind it, didn't we?
There was always a hidden message in there, absolutely. A hidden
message in there, and I think we kind of we mastered our way around that at times. And I think that's probably thanks to some of the elder heads in the group, kind of taking the reins a little bit and saying like, "How are you lads? Let's think about this." And thankfully, we come up with creative ways of saying what we wanted to say, but not making it too obvious, basically, at the time.
Another question, and this is from Stu, who wants to know a bit about behind the scenes with Wor Flags, about how everything's done. So the likes of the process to get the flags made and things like that. So for people that don't know, it's predominantly you're based on WhatsApp, really. Everybody's including a WhatsApp group. How many people are in that WhatsApp group at this moment in time?
I would say the main group is about 30 to 35. We'll have just added, if you just go onto your WhatsApp, it tells you at the top the number of participants in it.
You're grander over here. I was about to count everybody's name.
I was literally going to count them individually. 34. 34.
So we'll all put ideas in, and then we'll say, right, that's good, or we need to change this, we need to change that.
Are you just brutally honest with each other? If somebody comes up with a stupid idea, go, that is absolutely
usually
we are far too
usually him.
We are far too honest with each other. We are almost borderline brutal. It gets abusive.
Generally, it's my idea.
So,
it's like a stick or dance.
Like Heron's trying to come up with something, and we're like, Heron, that sounds absolutely dreadful. And he goes, right, I get a bit of paper, and there's like 25 little stick men stood across the bottom with little
spreadsheets.
Spreadsheets are out to tell me where we need to be and who needs to do what. And it's like, Heron, just wind it in a bit, will you?
Spreadsheets. Are you a fan of a spreadsheet?
Oh, he loves a spreadsheet.
It's class.
Absolutely loves one.
We've had the Arsenal display was done on spreadsheets.
He hands his missus a spreadsheet when she gets up in the morning. Daily routine.
So there's 30 odd people in the main group. Then is there another group for likes of volunteers?
It was
and things
just
like that?
this back end towards the season when we started doing the more stands. We're like, right, we're going to need
The
not even just more volunteers on to help prepare, but it's also people we can trust in different places on a match day, because the majority of us all sat in the Gallowgate. So if you've got something going on in the Leazer's end, you need someone over there who you can trust and who knows what the crack is. So we'll have the side group where it was like the Arsenal game on that Sunday. We're like, look, we need extra hands. put in the group, can anyone come in and help? And as was said before, people came in, brought friends with them, whoever, and we managed to get it done.
People have been very forthcoming across the season. So there's a last and that partner, I think, is Gemma.
Yes,
they're in level 7, and they've like offered their help, and they've been very supportive of what we do, and they've even put their own financial sort of outlay into it just to try and get something kick-started up there, like aside from Wor Flags, and just kind of replicating what we're doing. And that's been a massive help to get things kick-started up there. And it's just across the whole stadium, there's different people now coming out the woodwork kind of thing to say, oh yeah, we're happy to get involved, because I think they can just see the benefits of it all. Really, it's becoming a bit infectious, so to speak.
Yeah, I think obviously the preparation that goes in, everybody admires at that point where obviously everything's all set up, everything's ready to go. Looking at the Arsenal game, honestly, there's not enough words to explain what that looked like. And every single part of the ground had something different going on as well. And that was the magic thing about it. Do you feel as if that you're at the point now where you're scared? I know it's not a great word to use, but a bit scared in case you not let the fan base down in regards to a display, but you feel as if you would hate for fans to look and go, it's not as good as that one. It's not as good as that one.
I think that's probably going to be natural, isn't
That's
it?
going to happen
I think
now,
it's natural. I think we really did bust the boat out last season, and I think once it starts settling down again, and we get back to just doing normal displays, I think people recognise that it's a lot of hard work.
Yeah,
like that Arsenal one was serious graft. You were in 5 days, I think, before the game. I think I did 4. You were probably the same.
I think I was in the 5 with
you. See it's brutal. That I had to bring me missus numerous times so that I could actually see her. She loves it, to be fair, but it's like it does take it. So we can't do that all the time. I think people will realize that eventually. Yes, you'd love it. You'd love that to be every single game. It's just not possible. But I don't think it needs to be. I don't think that is needed every single game in order to win a football match.
It would get boring.
It would become a gimmick. Yeah. It would become a gimmick. At the end of the day, you're trying to just get the right message at the right time. Like the first game of the season, we'll probably do something big. But then the second home game of the season, we probably won't be as big. It just it depends on the moment, doesn't it? It depends on the size of the game, and that changes throughout the whole season.
Yeah, of course. I'm going to go through some of the questions which have been sent in while we've been live as well. This one is from Matthew that says, I'll come to you, Ryan. What's the furthest physical distance gone to make a display happen? So whether that be design-wise, picking flags up, whatever that may be.
But let this
I know
man,
Thomas had it.
Since he never, ever mentions it on anything he does.
I'm just sat here with a smug look.
I think we've got a pre-recording of this ready.
I'm sure Johnny might be watching this at the minute, and he's as smug as anything right now.
Never mentioned this, by the way.
No, I'd never ever bring it up.
So tell me the story.
Well, going to Poland.
Yes.
Yeah. So obviously driving to Poland because we didn't have that long to. I know I'm just going to get abuse here after these two. Driving to Poland. I think most people know about that now.
That was
definitely
the
furthest we've travelled,
where fans donated and the names were on the flag. Was that
yeah,
that one?
The best one more recently was the David Kelly display.
Yes.
Okay. Well, let's talk about that one.
That one was mint. So let's say we misplaced the first version of the David Kelly flag. No idea how. We'll just blame people taking them home. So basically, we were going into the bank. It was the Leicester game was a bank holiday weekend, wasn't it?
Yes, it was right. Easter.
It was Easter weekend. So on the Thursday night, we realised we didn't have this flag. The game was on the Sunday. So
who realised? Was it one
me
single person?
Me and Graham.
Me
and Graham were in the. We were going through the cupboard and we just couldn't find it. So, we got in touch with some flag companies. Eventually, one got in touch on Twitter, agreed to make it. And he was based somewhere down south, wasn't he?
It was just outside of Slough.
Just
outside of Slough.
So anyway, one of the lads in the group, Mac, he lives down near Peterborough.
I think it's about an hour and a half from Peterborough.
Is he? So anyway, he went to pick the flag up from this bloke, drove it to Peterborough train station, where we'd been DMing LNER to see if they could bring it up on the train for us.
Did they offer first? Did they come forward first?
No, I DM'd them because we were desperate. So I know, sliding in LNER's DMs, but they were absolutely class. Like, so there was a lad who, he was like a manager, and he lives in York. He's a Newcastle fan, but he lives in York. He finished work in York. He got the train down to Peterborough to pick this flag up from Mac. Got the train up to Newcastle.
Right.
And then was travelling back to York after he'd given us the flag. Me and Ryan met him at the train station. Had a little bit of time to spare. So we took him over to the stadium, just like, you know, to see, then got the flag out and all that sort of stuff. But that was just mint. Like, that was just people just going way out of their way to try and help us just to get a bloody flag up here.
Big thanks to Colin and Cameron.
Yeah, absolutely.
Coordinating it, wasn't it?
That's it. Cameron on social media was unreal.
And
it was just, that's right. And it was just unbelievable. He was taking photos of the flag sat in first class and all. It was just, so that this season was probably the furthest we've gone to, like ridiculous to try and get a display sorted, but we needed to, because without that flag, it would have just ruined the display.
Yeah, the thing is now as well, I think we've got quite a few people out there who are like quite willing to help, like in the fan base, or they've got connections, or they know people, so you can quite instantly get help.
Amount of times we've been on with UPS or DHL and all that.
The first game back, wasn't it? The UPS one.
Aye.
So yeah, there was a recent one that was stuck in Germany, was it?
There's been twice it's been stuck in Germany. The first game back was a Tottenham game when.
Or blaming Brexit on that.
Definitely.
It is. It is. To be fair, it really is. It actually is. It's a nightmare for us because we try to leave things till the very last second, don't we?
Well, as a group, we're not as organised as
we should.
It's not just that. Can't be though.
Can't we? Sometimes,
because at the end of the day, what we've always said is we like to play on how the fans are feeling.
Mm-hmm.
So in theory, we could sit down as soon as the fixtures come out and say, right, first game's this, second game's this, third game's this, but then you wouldn't get some of the stuff like we've had this season. If we have sat down as soon as the takeover happened and says, right, this is what we're doing every game, we would never have said, right, we'll have a Joe Linton flag. It would never ever have happened. I don't think the St. Maximin display wouldn't have happened. So it's it's playing on the feelings of the fans at the time, but then it's also the problem of, right, we need to get this made, we need to get it sent over, we need to get to the ground, set up and whatever.
So with the St. Maximin display, that was another one that came out of nowhere, really, in regards to fans seeing that in the ground. But obviously, Chris St. didn't have the best a couple of weeks prior to that display. A lot of fans, I wouldn't say turning on him, but being quite critical of his performances on the field there. Was that just an idea? Went, right, we need to get behind this player, and do this.
When we decided,
it was debated within the group a bit, wasn't it?
But do you remember what was the game before that? And the fans started chanting his name.
He was sat down in the corner.
Just picked him up.
In the corner.
Yeah, it just picked him up. And
he done the turn, he gave it to Joe Linton, and Joe Linton won the penalty. We won 1-0. So
it's just that, you know, just giving the lad a bit of backing, man. Like, Christ.
Essentially.
Yeah, as much as we can get involved in.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
Some players need a rocket up there. Some
Eddie Howe loved it, didn't he?
Eddie Howe loved that because I think he's seen there was a hit. Well, it was his words, wasn't it? There was an intelligence in what we had to do for it. You know what I mean?
That's what he said.
To be honest, that's quite a high thing for us to hear, like from the manager to say that, like to say that it was an intelligent display is a different dynamic to what we've had previously, because fans are generally associated with passion and all that, but to be informed, to be intelligent in that sense, it was a great compliment.
He did give the ball away in 30 seconds though.
It's because you were still thinking about the display.
Yeah, he was just
that's what it was.
Yeah.
Just with reference to that, the last question as well. There was actually one display which I think was the Brentford display. You can correct me if I was wrong, but we had a banner planned out which was started
Eddie Howe's first game.
When he had COVID.
Eddie Howe had COVID, so we actually had to change all the plans literally on that night before the game or whatever.
And people were in till what, 2 o'clock in the morning?
2 o'clock in the morning, I think it was, or 3 o'clock in the morning. Something like that. I used to literally working all the way through.
That's what was that. This is our house. This is Newcastle.
Yeah,
one, because me and Dad tweeted it.
It was meant to be Eddie Howe's Black and White Army
make each day, which we did against,
which we'd done the following game when he was there. But when me and Dad tweeted, "This is our house. This is Newcastle," we were sat on the ground thinking, right, what can we do now? We're that's it. That's what we've got to do.
So just because you mentioned the likes of Eddie Howe and the ownership there, you've actually got to meet them as well as the playing staff as well on the Saturday prior to the Monday night game against Arsenal. What was that like? Did that just come out of nowhere?
Pretty much.
Pretty much, right?
It was Eddie Howe's idea.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. He said he does things to motivate the players from time to time, and this was just the next one on the list to get people in.
I think it was an absolute masterstroke. I can't
genius.
speak high enough of it, because obviously it was great for us. But from when we look back at it now, he had given us a carrot leading the donkey, so to speak. Because it was we were doing the display anyways, but for him to do that, give us that extra bit fight to say, like, we've got to get this done, we've got to get this nailed. And like, when it obviously all came off, and it was quite noticeable, I think, that the Arsenal players looked like they didn't know what had hit them.
I think they shit themselves, me. Like,
and I absolutely
really do.
did, I think. And like, it just played a masterstroke because Newcastle just in the stands and on the pitch just absolutely battered them. I think, albeit the score might not reflect that, but 2-0 at home to a Champions League side for a club that was rock bottom.
But with
Christmas time,
with that, with going to meet them, like, obviously it really did mean a lot to us as fans. Like, like little kids, weren't we? It was stupid. It was very surreal.
You get very giddy, don't you?
Oh, proper. Aye, very much so. But they were absolutely sound. Eddie Howe came and spoke to us for like 20 minutes, didn't he? Like, and he was just genuine. Like, how much work he was saying he does. Like, because someone asked him, like, have you been out and about? Have you been to see the place? He hasn't been anywhere. He hasn't been anywhere. He's just been working. He barely sees his family. Like, and it's just unreal. Was it Andrew asked him, how did he get John Joe Shelby to run? And he liked that one. But he said, what he said was a lot of hard work or something like that. Yeah. But it was just absolutely class. And like, then the players came out and we got that group photo with them, and they were just.
So with the group photo, was there any arguments about who was going to stand near who?
Nah.
Did you get near, Chris?
Sorry?
Which player were you near?
I was next to Dan Byrne.
Dan Byrne, okay.
Big lads at the back.
Right, like a school photo.
Aye.
Who do you have, Thomas?
I had Miggy.
All right, okay.
Yeah.
And you've probably seen on Twitter with Fernandez and his hand on his leg.
Touching you, isn't he?
Yeah, that's right. I'm feeling him
Twitter,
up.
I was just relentless.
You got absolutely rinsed on Twitter. Jack Colback was back and everything.
I've had that a couple of times.
That was it. Honestly, it was proper surreal.
Did any of the players like have a chat with you in relation to like thanking you for this? Did any player say, why have I not got a flag yet?
No one did. No one did.
The
Cells did say something like for the entire team basically, and that's kind of where you saw his captain side of it, and he just thanked us all for the displays. He said in his time, it's like he can see a major change in the atmosphere and stuff like that. So it was just it was a surreal day. We obviously really appreciated it. We didn't want it. We didn't ask for it. They asked us, and it was still class to do. Like,
there's a lot of things recently that have come up like that where we do debate it in the group, because we don't want to be seen to be taking the perks when it's the fans that fund it, the fans that have helped us, volunteers like yourself, and all that. It. So it's striking a balance where like we don't be seen to be taking the piss basically. So there is always that debate when these sort of things come up. But I think within the group, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, tell us your honest opinion, but like, I think a lot of fans would like for us to take them opportunities up, because I think a lot of people respect what we do. A lot of
you've
people
earned it,
and they say that we earn it. Do you know what I mean? So like, I think that's the debate that we have in the group, and sometimes we kind of are on the edge of saying, "Oh, should we do it? Should we not?" But I think we generally just take up these options now, don't we? And we try to divvy them out as well. Like that's happened recently with the Sam Fender stuff and all that.
Yeah, this is it. It is a bit surreal. Heron's totally right. Like you get a bit embarrassed, don't you?
Yeah.
That you don't feel like you should be accepting it, because at the end of the day, what we do is, like with the flags, it's still a very privileged thing. Getting access to the stadium and all this sort of stuff. It's still that alone is very, like, it's such a privileged thing. So we do try to strike the right balance. We really don't, like, I've said this before on other things, like the most genuine people in the group, you've met them, Chris, most down to earth people who just love the football club. Like, they're not in this for the wrong reasons at all, other than to just help the atmosphere. So
especially Graham, we've got to drag him kicking and screaming.
Graham's too. He doesn't like it. Honestly, he doesn't like going to these things. It's like when me and Dad wanted to meet us. Graham didn't come. Really? Graham's our leader, by the way. Yeah. For people that don't know, Graham's our leader, and
Graham was the one that done a couple of things for ITV.
ITV. He was on that Waxer.
On the videos.
Yeah, and Graham's like I say, he's our leader, but he just gets too embarrassed by stuff like that, because he doesn't care about it. He doesn't care about one little bit. He just wants to help the flags. Yeah, he does. Teeth and flags. I'm not doing a Graham impression. I'm not doing a Graham impression.
One if you do.
I'm not doing it.
When in the group chats, right, it gets all excited. Right? Graham's got quite an excitable, passionate voice, anyways. So he always comes on to take the mic, but then I always come straight on to take the mic out of him.
Because I've got like the most monotone sort of.
Oh, I'm so excited about today's game. Oh, I'm just so passionate about Newcastle United. Mate. I hope we win.
You've stitched him up there,
I don't
man.
know what to say.
My sunburn's getting more red.
Because you mentioned the owners, and so you met Murad and Amanda Stavely. That's right, yeah?
Me, Dad.
Was Jamie Rubin there at that point?
No.
So it's only Murad that you've met face to face. Right, okay. What was his thoughts and everything on it? Was he as praiseful as everybody else?
Oh, he absolutely loved it.
He loves us. He absolutely loves us, doesn't he? Like
he loved waving that little flag.
He did. He asked when he said for that game as well. He was like, "Is my flag on my seat?"
Did he tell you where you sat?
Uh-huh.
Did he tell you where you sat?
Well,
I would just imagine go, by the way, like my seat's this one, as if we didn't know.
Oh no, he didn't. No. But he's just like he's just
very down to earth.
Very down to earth. He offered us the world, really, didn't he?
Yeah. So that's my next question, because you mentioned that. There's a question from Lauren here, and this was sent in a couple of times. So we'll pick this one out, and it says, have the new owners hinted at maybe offering to support from a financial perspective?
Yes.
Yeah. Because
I
think they see the potential of it all. They want the club to be united from top to bottom, and that includes the stands. So I think they want to give us as much support and as much help as we can possibly get. The ball is very much in our court, I think, and that's something for us to control. We want to keep it in our court as well. We want to kind of make sure that it remains fan-funded, fan-led, independent of the club, so to speak. But I think looking at it from a more global point of view, if you look at everything with the club now, how this new what's he called, Dan
Ashworth.
Yeah, Ashworth. Like, he's coming in. I don't know if you've seen his interview yet, but he's been talking about how he wants to link up all the parts of the club, and really the fans are a massive part of that. Mm-hmm. So like, we've got to kind of be seen to be involving ourselves in that level of unity as well. There's no point in us being totally unique from the club. If we can work with them in a constructive way that gets wins, at the end of the day, that benefits us all. But like I say, like, we do want it to be kind of fan funded and led by the fans.
I think that's important.
Voice, really.
Yeah, I think that's important. I think if I ever got to the stage where, like, let's say with a pulley system and we really need the help, then we're happy to reach out to them. I think for now, the way that it's going, the fans keep it going, don't they? So why change that?
I feel as if, and I love the fact that it's fan funded, but I feel as if that point when you take it away from the fans, then people may be overcritical with some form of displays and saying, "Oh, the club must have had some sort of say in this display and stuff like that." And you don't want to be that. You want fans and the likes of you guys coming up with those displays and spontaneous displays, like the St. Maximum one. Joe Linton got a flag; nobody expected that. Yeah. So that you need to keep that with the fans. Really.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But they fully accept that as well.
Yeah.
Then it's not like they're putting any pressure on us. Like, Jamie Rubin made a donation to the flags as well, which is obviously it's accepted. Of course it is. We're not going to turn that down, but it's just that it's not as if it's funding it. It was a donation like any other donation we get, whether it's €5 or whatever, over 100 quid, which, you know what it is as well. So it feels probably, I mean, we put out that Jamie Rubin donated, but like, we get some ridiculous donations, from a board, like American fans and stuff like that. People from all around the world just sending stupid amount of money. Like, it's.
I think we had quite a big one from Singapore or somewhere recently, didn't we? Like, and just like
the Singapore fans club.
It's weird,
but it's fantastic. Though,
it's unreal.
And like Tommy says, whether it's a $5 or $500, doesn't matter. Like, it all contributes.
So when it comes to the likes of the costing these displays up, obviously you understand how much is in the kitty and how much is in the bank when it comes to display. Do you look and think that's going to work out a bit too pricey? It's not going to leave us with enough for the display after that. The display after that is the case where it's game by game and trying to not necessarily cut costs, but trying to keep it on a level playing field. Really,
it's probably game by game, and like, we don't really sod it. just spend it. Like, there has been times that we can't afford it.
Yeah,
there's no doubt about that. Because stuff is quite expensive. Brexit is a huge problem because it just adds to the price. And price that we
then nick your flag.
Yeah,
No.
yeah. So it's one of those that we try and do the best that we possibly can, but there is limitations sometimes on finances. But
yeah, I think we just try and cut the cloth accordingly, and we do always try to aim to do the biggest best that we can, really, I suppose.
worry about it when it comes.
I mean, even the Arsenal display, we had to dial back a little bit in a creative way. The Milburn stand was the one with the foils without the foil flags. Slight cost difference to them, but it was enough to enable us to get it done. Just little decisions like that probably aren't that obvious to others, but because we're in amongst it all, we're obviously aware of. Brexit's a huge one.
Yeah.
Like customs costs and import
taxes and
stuff.
stuff.
And these are things that you don't know up until the point where they arrive at
until it's at the
customs
UK.
as well.
Yeah.
By the way, you owe this amount of money.
Yeah, no,
before
it
we're
is.
gonna hand it over to you.
It genuinely is, yeah.
Yeah. Ryan, on a scale of 1 to 10,
Right.
how much do you like foils?
-10. I cannot stand them.
Tell people that the problem with foils, they look good.
I don't know why Ryan's whinging he didn't put any of them out.
Do
He
not
was
make me repeat what I told you
he-
before.
he
All
was-
his work pants, his dirty
He
work
was
pants.
in there for 5 days. He didn't put one foil on a seat.
Put your teeth out, Thomas. Because basically with the foils, it just comes in one row where the foil flags come in a bundle and you can just drop them in between the seats. Job's good. Foils got to be individually peeled off, placed over the seats, elastic band onto the next one.
You did it, Chris.
By time
I
you
know.
do, like I think the first game we're done, foils was the Unity display against Chelsea. By the time we're done the Gallowgate stand, like my fingers, they were just red off the elastic bands, and again, full stadium. Thought we're just going to do the Gallowgate and the
Never again.
never.
So
Never
at the
again.
point now where we're go next season, you will not see any foils in St James's Park.
Not the individual.
Not the
bits of
individual
foil.
foil.
Nah.
If it's going to be
If it's
that,
not
it'll
a
be
flag,
flag,
yeah.
foil flag,
Has to be a flag.
because they're easier to do and set up.
They're a bit more durable as well, aren't they?
Aye.
Really? Like you can
absolutely.
easily gather them in. You can easily put.
Yeah,
them
we've
back
done that with a
But
lot
you
of the
did it,
Arsenal
Chris,
ones.
as well. It's not that easy, is it? Like that bit
No.
of foil. You've got to put an
Especially with the
elastic
wind.
band over it. Yeah.
When
then-
the wind gets up.
And then that's it, the wind. But do you remember when we were putting them out for the Arsenal game? And we went through and we realised we'd covered all the seat numbers. It's like we just anticipated looking over at the Milburn stand on the day of the game, seeing all these people kicking off because they can't find their seat.
That was at one point. I think it was
That's what happens when you get the amateurs in.
Johnny was doing one section like that. Then we looked over and we why I was different to this. Then we looked down and somebody went, "You've covered the seat numbers, by the way."
There's a good 1,000 seats had the seat numbers covered. Like
We made a similar blooper in the Leazes end as well with that game because we'd actually done all the blue star and everything. We did the same in the youth stand, to be fair, as well. We'd put all the flags out, but then it got the wind picked up, didn't it? And I think it was Saturday night.
And it just blew
Sunday
them
morning,
everywhere.
it blew everywhere. So like
So-
we had to go and redo half.
so Sunday night, I went through the seats on the Sunday night, and me and a couple of others went in on the day of the game as well to put the blue. We just had to make sure the blue was spot on. Around that, it would work, but it was the blue had to be perfect.
What's the difference then between using the foils and using the flags?
I think they look better. I think you saw that.
Yeah.
The blue star that looked absolutely incredible. That I don't think that would have worked with foils, because with a flag, if someone's waving a flag, that could almost cover 3 or 4 seats.
Yeah.
That if someone isn't there, if someone's not there when it's just a bit of foil, it'd be a huge gap. Whereas the flag covers it, just a lot better. Just way more expensive.
There's been a couple of shouts about people leaving the ground with the flags, but I think the amount of flags that are on display, the amount that leave the football ground in St James's Park, it's very minimal.
Yeah.
And you do have people on the outside that are basically giving them a heads up. By the way, mate, you shouldn't be taking that out. It's not yours. But it's probably a lot of people that don't go to St James's Park on a regular basis that think that you can just move. But I've noticed a couple of times now that the club are putting announcements over the tannoys saying leave your flags in the ground, they're not being taken. It's not something which you necessarily get so angry about because they can be replaced and it is very minimal.
Yeah.
Is there anything that the club can do more to stop that from happening?
I think it's a one for us to work with the club on. We've got a few ideas such as putting bins by the doors as people leave, put placards up on each turnstile.
Yeah.
Just informing the stewards, which generally they're all well informed now anyways, and as are the fans by the tannoy. So it's kind of just damage limitation in that sense. I think word's obviously getting out and people are kind of self-policing, telling people not to take them as well.
Mm-hmm.
Whether or not people listen to that as their own prerogative. But to sort of touch on what you were saying about the effect of it, it's financially each flag probably isn't a big effect to us, but the thing is we've got a bit of a duty of care for the money that's donated to us, so we've got to be seen to be looking after people's money. We can't just say, oh, this is Joe Blogg over here who's nicking a flag who's never contributed, but you know, the other fella over here has contributed 20 quid and his money's going into his hands basically. So we're kind of the intermediate and all of that, and we've got to try and manage that. But
there's somebody not long ago that tried and pinch one of the huge.
Yeah, I
ones.
don't get that. I don't get that. That's
What do you do?
That's stupidity. That's just stupidity.
What was it, 5 by 5 meters?
It was
Yeah, it was one of the massive ones.
The 5 by 5
huge
checkered
ones.
flag.
Was it not the We Are the Mags one?
no,
Or something like that,
There was
or-
another blue away one coming at the Leazer's end or something.
No, there was that one, but there was a
even
bigger one.
You know, the Way the Lads
I
ones
must
we
have
got.
missed that.
Absolutely.
I thought
That
it
was a
just one of
steward.
the-
It was a steward that stopped them.
Right.
Black and white
How
checkered
do you
one.
walk out with that and think, what are you going to do with that?
And when he was stopped, he says, "Oh, I
On the
didn't,
wall over there.
I didn't know that you couldn't take them."
No one's ever done that before.
I just want to say that the flags that were on that wall,
Yeah, they were nicked.
they weren't nicked.
They were next.
So we just never handed back.
Yeah, it's 3-on-1 here, mate.
The other thing with it as well though is like we've got to be careful that people don't feel that they can't take their own flags because
This is the issue.
Because there are people that do.
We
that.
would love people.
Right.
We
to bring
don't
their
we
own
don't want it
flags.
to be abusive as well. Like, you know what you were saying before about self-policing. As long as it's
in the right
polite,
Yeah.
just giving them a nice reminder.
Little
Hopefully they'll
nudge.
bring it back next time
Yeah,
after they've
little
done
nudge.
waving it in front of the TV for Match of the Day.
I'll go through a couple more questions just before we wrap this one up. One of them is, I'll come to you, Ryan. Have you had any other fan groups contact Wor Flags? So I know when obviously Wor Flags first took over from Gallowgate Flags have been in discussion with different supporters group how they do flag displays and things like that.
Yeah.
Is anybody coming to use now?
I think the main one we've got is it Plymouth?
Are you talking about other clubs or other Newcastle
Clubs or
fan
Newcastle.
groups?
Other clubs, other fans.
Yeah.
I think one of the ones we've had quite a bit of contact with for a number of years is Plymouth Argyle's fans, and they've seen what we've done and they wanted to know like how we go about things, where we get the flags from.
Spreadsheets. Did you say spreadsheets?
How I've mentioned spreadsheets because no one likes them apart from Aaron.
Hartlepool is another
Hartlepool,
big one because of locality. We were sort of getting orders sent together,
Okay.
and
Right.
they-
Okay.
So it
their
saved
lads
up.
would come up and get them
Aye.
from us and all that
Makes
sort of
sense,
stuff
yeah.
at no cost to any of our donations. By the way, it was just it just made sense because I think it actually saved us money with delivery. Preston is another new one.
See,
But even like
you're
Hearts,
you're on the Twitter, so you know.
you just
more
get loads.
often
Honestly, you
comes in
get
the messages and that.
loads.
But we're always willing to give out pointers.
Does that make
whatever.
you feel a bit like proud of yourself that other people
Massively.
are looking at you thinking these are set like top of
No,
their game now in English football, and you said at the very start of this that one of the best in England, but easily the best for me. And I'm not just saying that because obviously being a Newcastle fan, knowing you lads, but there's
It's
nobody
class.
even comes close. Of course, Palace have their section and things like that, but nobody can. I believe nobody can replicate what happened at that Arsenal game or even come close to that.
No.
Not when it's put
Not as-
not when it's put together
Not
by
a
fans.
like a fan-funded group like
Yeah.
we are.
No,
you
it's
see-
nice.
You see teams where they'll do a full stadium display where everything's organised for the club, paid for by the club, they pay people to come in and do it. And it's like for us to be on the level that we are, for what we do being just a fan group, it's absolutely insane. And
And
no
not
one,
a single clapper inside either.
not a single
Yeah,
clapper.
exactly.
Not a single
Although
clapper.
we do keep getting told off Leicester fans on their Twitter that it's not painted, so it doesn't count.
Yeah, our flags don't count because we don't paint them all ourselves.
That's another thing. You do get like some other clubs.
Trying to have a pop.
Yeah, Leicester's the main one, isn't it?
It is.
Like, I'm not being funny,
They
but
just got a
Leicester,
chip on the shoulder, haven't
Leicester
they,
have
as well?
clappers. I'm not being funny,
goal
but
music.
like and goal music. Like, do one.
So to end it on this one, okay, and this one was from Ashley that says, how do you progress from the Arsenal display?
But can it? Because Graham went too big too soon. Pulleys.
Pulley system, that's all we can do.
It's just diversifying it, and it's
Yep.
just doing something different with what we've already done. So, all right, we've done the Blue Star, we've done United,
Done
Have a- have a
NUFC,
think about
how
how
are
we
the
can-
lads,
Yeah.
all in the files. So, but we're never doing files again, it's flags.
No
So-
more files.
It's
No
just
more files.
diversifying, basically.
It's keeping it fresh, going along with what's happening on the pitch.
So
I think that's the best
we
way.
couldn't give an answer because we don't know what's going to happen in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah.
So,
Anniversaries pop up all the time.
aye.
You know, all that sort of stuff that we can easily, you know, there'll be things to do, won't
We'll
there?
try to touch on with the Kelly one, and that's just keeping the history alive.
Aye, that's
Yeah.
it.
And then
Yeah.
like for love of a better term, educating younger people coming through, because a lot of fans now have only experienced the Ashley era.
Mhm.
I mean, I wasn't old enough to really know about the Kelly goal and anything like that, but it's keeping like the older fellas or ladies who are no longer capable of going. It's keeping their memories alive, keeping their time alive at the club, and then doing it the same for our parents. Then hopefully it's done by our kids for us eventually. You know what I mean? And it's just keeping all of that alive. So
yeah, how can people get involved, Thomas? Either donating or helping out.
So, in terms of donating, we put the donation link online on social media, either Twitter or Facebook. You can just go to the Wor Flags website, and you'll easily find the donate button on there.
Facility for direct debits now as well.
There is, yes. Obviously, that's something that we're encouraging massively. If people can afford a direct debit every month, even if it's just like a $5, if you can afford it, great. Obviously, at the minute, we're really not pressuring donations because it's not just hard for it's hard on us in the group. Like financially, we're all getting battered at the minute. So if no one's putting money towards flags, fine. You know, but with in terms of volunteering, just kind of get involved in on a match day. It's hard to we get so many messages on social media. The difficult thing is we don't know you, and that's quite hard just to randomly pick someone that sent us a message on Twitter. From an account that has no name or something like that, and it's like
no name, no
it's really difficult. So it's kind of more just get involved on a match day, come to one of us, you know, either just come and say hello. You want to help out? That's the best way. But we've got a cracking group of volunteers at the minute, and just get involved. I think that is the best way to say, isn't it? It's hard. It's hard, like I say, to pluck everyone out and put them all in one little group and go from there. So. Just come and say hello.
I think I'll speak for everybody, and my appreciation for what Wor Flags have done, not just since the start, but especially this since obviously he came back into St. James's Park, has been phenomenal. It really has. Each week it gets better and better. And next season, I think everybody's as excited as what I am. Looking forward to see what Wor Flags can do. And probably like everybody else, Wor Flags was part of two of the most emotional times I've had in St. James's Park. So I feel like bubbling every time I talk about this, but the game after the takeover, the Big River one, and obviously the last game of the season, Arsenal. Those were moments where I've looked at Mark sat near me, and he's a big lad. He stood there crying, tears coming down his face. I've never seen so many blokes crying in one place.
That was one of the best nights I've ever had in St. James's Park.
Yeah, the Arsenal game.
I've had my season ticket for probably 22 years, I think now, and so I missed obviously like the 90s. I was just a little bit too young, but we still had some great nights. That was up there, and that was to finish 11th. Yeah, like it's just I cannot wait. I just cannot wait. That's what it felt like. It's genuinely what it felt like.
It doesn't matter how big we get now potentially. Like I think the back end of this season will be where it all began. Like it doesn't matter if you go and win cups and that. I think. For a lot of us who experienced that Arsenal game and experienced the back end of the season, I think everyone will think back and think this is when it began.
Yeah. Basically. Well, thanks very much, boys. There's loads of comments came in tonight. Everybody else showing their appreciation. Thanks for everything that you have done. More next season, hopefully. Well, definitely more next season from you guys. Thanks everybody who has watched tonight. We will see you next time.